welcome to the Revive.
Hey everyone and welcome. My name is Carlos Champagne. This is episode 2 of the Revive on Expressive TV. Last week we spoke about understanding and some misconceptions that came along with it and that in the Bible. And at the end of it we started talking about how we can change who we are as people. And that's what we're going to get into today. And today we'll be having Jamaal on the couch with us.
How you doing? Happy to be here.
I'm glad to have you, man. So this week's topic is who you are versus who you could become. And I feel a lot of people in this day and age feel that they're either stuck in as the person they are and they cannot change, or they just feel that they're in a place that they cannot get out of. And I don't feel that to be true. I feel that anybody at any time can turn into whatever and whoever they want to be. But that change has to come from inside. There's very few things about you cannot change, and those things that you cannot change, you should not want to change. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of things that we grow up with based off of societal things in our life, whether it be environment, family, certain mentalities, religious beliefs, how we view the Bible, how we view political topics. And oftentimes we feel like we're stuck in a certain mentality, we're stuck in a certain position, stuck in a certain job, stuck in a certain financial status. And we just feel like there's no way to go beyond that to reach another level. And I think mainly it comes from not having friends that are on a higher level than we are, doing things that we aren't doing and things of that nature. We just feel like we're stuck in the position we're stuck in.
I totally agree. I feel like how it really comes to start is a very strong feeling of complacency. It's like people say they want better, but they're not willing to take the steps to do better. They like the consistency. They like knowing where they are now, and they find it kind of intimidating to actually see themselves in a different lighting, or they don't know how great they can be, and they're kind of afraid of that. Because I know I felt that way personally many times, that I didn't really go about something the way I could have because I just didn't know where it was going to take me.
Right. That's a very scary thing. It's going into uncharted waters. You feel almost as if like, if I step here, if I go here, if I read a certain book, if I mingle with certain people, I don't know who I'll become. I don't know what that person looks like. I don't know the way they think. And like you said, a lot of complacency. I grew up in a household where it was just all boys in a pretty dangerous neighborhood in Canarsie, Brooklyn. And we had a certain mentality there. It's always like fighting. It's always a mentality of aggressiveness. And we got complacent until I came to Georgia, and then everything changed. It's like you get flipped on your head. Everything slows down, everything relaxes you. And it's a completely different environment. It kind of forces you to basically calm down, relax, and see life for what it is. And I feel like a lot of people, had I not gotten out of Brooklyn, had I not gotten out of New York, I probably still would have been a rowdy individual, probably would have gotten worse. And I just don't think that a lot of people have that experience, have that opportunity to get out of the environment and experience other places, other things, and other mentalities.
That's actually a really great point, because I do feel that in me, my biggest changes came from me moving locations. It's like once you move to a different location, it opens your mind to a lot more things that you never even thought about. And in those, just in that way of thinking, it allows you to, it opens your mind to other ways of life, and it allows more knowledge and growth to be able to come to you. So I feel like a change of scenery is always a very good step to actually changing who you are as a person. You gotta define your actions. Like when you sit down and define the actions that you make on a day-to-day, it's no longer just something you're doing, because so many people move and they don't know why they're doing something, but they're doing it. But when you give a definition to a set action, it's so much harder to go against that action, because you know what it means to you, you know what it means if you don't do it, and you know what it means if you do it.
Right.
So in doing that, anytime you're faced with struggle or a conflict, it's so much easier to stand strong. Like, you won't waver when you know why you're doing this and what the reason is behind that. And I also feel like when you define your actions, it makes you think about it on a deeper level. And when you think about it at a deeper level, that causes you to perceive yourself in that place. It's like you have to really see yourself in that spot to do that. Like it's like, oh, like I see me doing this now because I took the time and thought about this to this level of detail that I know what's going to happen because this is me. This is what I plan to do.
Right.
And that's really how you become something. You have to perceive yourself in that image. If you can't see yourself doing something, you will not become that person.
Right.
And I feel very strongly about that. Like, if you can't say that you see yourself in that light, you can't see yourself doing this thing, how you gonna do it?
I agree. You mentioned something that was very powerful. I think planning plays a big part in everything you desire to do, whether it be bettering your finances or you want to get closer to the Lord or whatsoever it may be. Planning is definitely a major proponent to that. One thing I've learned this year was the importance of something called budgeting. It's been around for years, but I never really was able to get a good lock on my budgeting until this year, where I looked up some different types of plans and things of that nature and locked it down, looked up how much you make, subtract all the bills and things of that nature, and go from there. And it's just a testimony to basically every aspect of your life. When we want to become something better, when we want to do something more, when we want to whether it be traveling the world or whatsoever it be, there has to be a detailed plan, a detailed layout, and an end goal in mind. Without your reason why, you'll never do, like you just said, you'll never do something that you intend on doing because you don't have a strong enough why to deter your why not. You get what I'm saying? There's always has to be basically a strong yes to every strong no.
I agree, but I also disagree a little bit at the same time, because it's always good to have a plan, but what good is a plan without action? There's a thing that I heard about and I've actually experienced myself, and I can't even remember the term, but basically what it's saying is you think about it in such depth, and it kind of puts you in it stops you from really understanding, like, it's like, it stops you like, oh, I don't know if I can, oh, this is a lot. Like, once you get into detail, you're like, oh, this is a lot. I don't know if I can actually do it. So I feel like one of the major things with every plan is that you actually have to take action.
I agree. I just think that there are certain people that need a game plan that's broader than just smaller details. I have family members, I have friends that I know that unless they see the entire puzzle piece, unless they see the masterpiece finished, they're not going to be able to put the pieces together. You know what I'm saying? And then there are other people that don't. They can see chaos and they can create a masterpiece out of that chaos. It's just certain people have that gift to where they can do that, and others don't. I personally, I have to see a bigger picture. You know what I'm saying? I have to see the reason why I'm doing something, or else, personally, I'll just find something else to do. I get bored very easily, so I'll just find something else to do, and I'll completely forget the reason why I started doing what I was doing. But at the same time, I do get what you're saying. I do think there are people out there that they can plan a little bit. Instead of planning 5 years, they can plan a year ahead. Instead of planning a year ahead, they can plan 3 months, and they'll perfect it. They'll do wonderful at it. And then there are other people like myself who I have to plan in 20-year spurts, 10-year spurts before I can actually jump into action on something. So I think it's like a catch-22 for some of us. It's kind of like, yes, you can do this or you can do that.
And next time we're actually going to talk about how to find yourself so you can become that person you want to be. And that is it for the show. It was nice to have you, man.
It was nice to be here. It was nice to be here.
Yeah, it was a really nice talk. I enjoyed it.
Thanks for having me, man.
Welcome to the champagne portion. And I just wanted to give y'all my own personal opinion. I feel that the mind, the body, and the soul are three different entities. And to be very effective in this world, you have to get them all on one accord. So my advice to y'all is to think it, do it, and become it. And that's all I gotta say.